dinner time with Panera.
It's dinner time with Panera.
Fantastic.
I don't want to have dinner time with Panera. Somewhere I'm letting you stay in. It's gonna make me regret this. Summer has conned me into leaving her in the room. Haven't you, Summer? Well, I was just going to show you for the camera and show you how you stick your tongue out like you do all the time. Grumpy lump. Well, Summer's a grumpy lump. Now, not often is she a grumpy lump. So, I'm guessing she may be having gas or something. You got gas, honey? Because, like I said, it's very rare. I could probably only count a handful of times she's been grumpy when I've tried to touch her. So, she's probably got the farts. You got the farts, honey? Well, it's okay, Pendar. You know, it's no hurry. You know, I'd normally set these for 9 o'clock. I just thought I'm not really feeling myself, so, you know, once again, is earlier may be better. Because for Smelly, it's only 5:45. So, you know, I really wasn't planning on getting started until at least 9 anyway. But yeah, I'm feeling rough. You know, I don't feel bad, but you know, I just feel rough. Feel like I could go back to bed, but I've had enough bed. Right now, I'd kick a puppy for a cupcake. Yes, I would. Now, I wouldn't Letitia puppies, but you know, I'd apologize to the puppy. It'd feel real bad, but I mean, right now, well, what it is my body wants sweets. Because, you know, my body's basically got all the other it wants, and it wants sugar. Well, I would think that it's probably more the weather. Like my voice, this is just allergens in the air and sinuses where I sleep. Hello, Rachel. But yes, your game person is feeling kind of rough, and you know, we'll cover some stuff in your universe. I thought about doing this in a separate live, but like I said, you know, I think feeling rough is kind of going around, but the temperature's been really, really nice here. I mean, it has. In the last 2 days, the temperature's been really, really nice. We had rain. Now, Pendar, when I can get together with my hands and that card at the same time, I will type you to those numbers. So it's likely I will do that in the middle of the night. So if you get a message from me in the middle of the night, you know, and it beeps on you, that's what it is, so don't, you know, worry about it. But yeah, I'm kind of turd. But then I did have a seizure earlier and did have seizures last night, so in reality my tiredness is because of them, but I'm not really worse for wear overall. Pendar, I thought you said it was going to the P.O. box. Did I get that wrong? Is it coming to the house or is it coming to the P.O. box? Because in our last message, I had thought it was going to the P.O. box. Oh, so they're going to deliver it to the house. Okay. Well, you see, the post office there is ran by clowns. So, anything there you can expect it to go wrong. Okay. So, that means I want to start looking for it around 11. But what sucks is the last 2 days, around noon, I've been having seizures. So, we'll see what tomorrow brings me. Okay, well that's good. That's good. That will be quite helpful. Oh man, they make my head hurt. They do. They just make my fucking head hurt. Well, no, they always do the lazy thing. You remember what I said before? That, my house is within, anything over a quarter mile, but I'm within a quarter mile. The guy just doesn't want to drive down the driveway and back. Because, it would take time. Because in the time it would take him to deliver something up to my house, he could do half my street. Well, Pindar, they don't remember hour to hour, day to day. I mean, seriously, you could probably ask them the same question every day and not get the same answer most of the time. Well, yeah, they are idiots. Now, as you see, it does not come any surprise to me. Now that it's explained to me, it's like, it makes perfect sense. If I would have said no, wait, and gave it several minutes, I probably would have came up with that. Honey, I don't know what it is, but her and Richella both has just decided that we can just dig our claws as deep as we want. I think she did that to get both of my hands. I think my kitty was manipulating me. Because when I pulled her away and got the other hand here, she just stopped and like she's going to sleep. Because I was about to say, why in the hell are you hitting me with your claws? She wanted both hands. Well, yes, Pindar, like I said. Now, do you see why I didn't have a phone? If you don't have a phone, how do you deal with that? And even if you have a phone, how do you deal with that? Now, this place was a problem before COVID. But the thing is, summer, but they've got half of the phone market locked up, and the other place, Assurance, is even worse. Because they claim they cover here, and they don't. And rather than admit it, they just say, we'll send the signal again. See, that's what they're told to do. They're not told to never say that it's not going to work. They just say, send the signal again. And that's why I didn't have a phone. Of course, if you don't have a phone, you can't call them to tell them that you need the signal. So that was pretty defeating. And that's why I didn't have a phone forever. In summer, your ass is going to have to get out of here because you're not being cooperative. Says you, I don't care. I'm going to do whatever I want. I'm a cat. Well, Pindar, that's why you got someone. Yes, that is why you got someone. Matter of fact, if you had not said that, nothing probably would have happened. but that's nice. I mean, it really would have helped me if it had been, but, you know, it is what it is. You know, I've been basically destroying my mornings waiting on that thing for how long now? Oh, yeah. Well, to credit famous man, all I can do is make a number of knife-sized holes in their body. Well, like you say, that was a fantasy quote. Yes, because one character has a starship and could blow up a planet, and the other one, being a medieval guy, said, all I can do is make a number of knife-sized holes in your body. Oh. You're right, Simmer. It's like Simmer's got claw marks all in me. Now, Simmer, I'm about to break out character sheets, honey, and I kind of like need you to go somewhere or do something other than hover right over me. And I see I'm hovering over you. She's my asshole. Well, it's good that it's taken care of, and it's good it's going to be here. And thank you, Pendark, and you know, that is the bottom line. Now, once again, you know, it's like if there's an apocalypse here, by default, I am leader. Because everybody else is too damn stupid to be leader. Hello, Cushy. The first thing I'll do is target practice with clowns. Just saying. I was just having nasty thoughts. Just picturing lining Jimbo and the entire family up against the wall. Excuse me. Yes. I was having a momentary homicidal fantasy. Well, I don't say it on the other one, but I know what Rachel's talking about there. Summer, what are you doing, honey? You're going to get something. Let me move this phone over here, because you're an asshole. You're an asshole, baby. Move that over here. She looks like she might have hurt a mouse, and she's going to destroy over here. So I'm kind of getting important things out of the way, because you may hear a hellacious crash and boom here in a moment, and I had to get our game stuff out of the way. Because reasons. Okay. Now, Shimmer, you do your thing, and I'll do mine. How about it? I'm sorry. Oh, shit. I bumped her with my elbow. You know, she's got hurt girlfriend syndrome. Like I said, I accidentally bumped her with my elbow, and she thought I did that on purpose. She thought I was prodding her away, but I accidentally hit her, and I got the rude hurt look and hopped off. My little drama queen. She's still looking at me like, and you're laughing, you're such an asshole. You know, she's looking at me like that teenager. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you. She is such a diva. I mean, really, she is. when I feed all the other cats, she comes to me and it's like, I want my can of food now. Now, one thing that I am going to start doing, like at the beginning of these live streams from the game, is I'm going to tell you a little bit about your universe. That way, you know, you'll know what you should know as a person. Like, you would know what other superheroes there are publicly. So, this week, we're going to start off with MetaMan. And he is the superhero of Facebook. Yes, Mark Zuckerberg sponsors MetaMan. You know, his Meta Company's official superhero. And just put it out there. If you listen to the media, you would think that he is Superman in what he can do. But, you know, in reality, he has, well, no experience points. And he also is 250 point character, just like you were starting out. But, you know, once again, the press makes him out to be one of the world's greatest superheroes, when any of you are more than a match for him. Actually, sitting here looking at it, yeah. He's got some interesting attacks that could be useful, but, you know, any of you are more than a match for him. Okay. I'm having to refresh my memory with some of these too as we go. Now, this world's version of Iron Man is Dr. Arachnid. But he has an Iron Man-like suit, but of course it has a bunch of extra arms. So he would actually be, because of some high-profile fights, he would be quite known to you in the media. Now, another, what we would consider a street-level hero is the Blue Bow. But, you know, he mainly takes care of your gangster-type things and doesn't fight supervillains. Now, there are a lot of rumors. Some of these guys, I'm going to wait to save as a surprise. But those would be probably, looking at this list here, those would be the two that you would probably know the most about. Now, on your late night radio shows, they talk about a government team. And they fight all of the strange things. You know, all of the conspiracy monsters. You see, on this late night radio program, they say the government has a secret super team and they go around fighting a secret war against monstrous beings on the earth that prey upon man. So that's what I'm going to give you as your little world briefing today. I thought about doing a big one, but I thought memory, you know, works better if you take it in little bits. So, you know, we're going to start this week, you know, mentioning the existence of MetaMan, Dr. Arachnid, and the conspiracy. Now, on that conspiracy program too, they also have conspiracy aliens, by the way. Here's PU. She was hiding. Sit her aside. If Smelly's going to make it, I expect her in the next few minutes. Like I said, I was kind of, because I'm earlier than usual, I was going to wait till 9 to start anyway. Hello, gamer girl. Trying to find what might be, because I have something set up for like adventure chains, and I'm just trying to see what here might be the most interesting thing. Or at least what I think I can make interesting with the two of you. Because that one I want to wait for Smelly, because there's one guy I think will make a good villain for her. Yeah. I was looking at this villain and I thought, no, you guys are, because I have made some things, you know, for the future, and I thought it would be fun, but looking at it, no, you're not ready for him. Matter of fact, I'd probably have to add a couple superheroes. Okay. I think I got something different. Completely different than I thought, but it'll actually fit into the main game line. Yeah. Yeah, Pendar. Because that's why on like the weekday like this, why I was picking 9 to start. I'm just here a little bit earlier, because like I say, my condition's been bothering me later in the night. So I thought that it might be better to be here a little earlier, get organized, talk to you guys a little bit, and in that way too, you and Rachel can have inside jokes when she doesn't know something. Although Smelly is very efficient, so it's likely she will go back and watch these and catch up, but that'll give things that she doesn't. Yes. Well, no, actually I'll be here at 8 on Saturdays. Yes. But I'm going to try to be ready to be here longer. Even if we have to have an upside down live stream. Just saying. But yeah, I'm getting to where I'm kind of wanting to start again, because you understand how the combat works, and your game master has not been feeling well, and that's basically been our main issue, has been me. It's not you, it's me. Well, actually, Pendar, I did set this up really for 4 players. Or 3 in an occasional one. So, you know, in reality, we could bring aboard another person. It wouldn't be no problem. It all just depends on, you know, because before there was a lot of people that did. So, you know, I figure finding one person is going to be hard, but I wouldn't want to put up a post for it, because then, you know, I've got a dozen people wanting one spot. So that's why I'm going to kind of leave it to chat here. Well, things will be more fun when it develops, when you have reoccurring people, when, you know, you've not seen someone in forever and they get brought back on you and recite something that you did to them and you think, oh yeah, because that's when the game really starts to resonate, when you get some lore behind you. You know, that when you're far enough down the line where you're trying to think of, well, how did we meet? Now, you know, to tell you guys as a plot device. Now, honey, I love you. Now, what the old wizard has been doing, besides getting kisses, He's been creating a magic seeing crystal. And it's kind of like an alert. Now, he is a lazy wizard. So basically the spell is set to where if there is something that's going to happen that can be disastrous, that no one else can stop, it will that his crystal will show him visions of it. Excuse me. So it's kind of like a magical TV in a way, but that would, because see, the wizard is mainly worried about the wizard. You know, the wizard doesn't want to die. And he's more than happy for whoever to stop whatever, but he has created the scrying crystal, so once again, he will be made aware of things that could terminate all of you, so you then can stop it. I mean, he doesn't want to waste his time, and he doesn't want to waste yours. Now, game note. See, that way I make everything you do important. That way you're picking up the piece, because in reality, life isn't like the comic books. There would always be disasters that would fall through the cracks that could kill everyone in the entire world, or worse. And that's what he worries about. And that's why he wants your company, because other than that, he does not like people. He is very reclusive. And, you know, once again, you know, he's not the paragon of virtue, let's say. You know, he's not interested in saving the world and being the great hero. He's not even interested in being the greatest wizard. Now, he is interested in living forever. Yes, and you see, that is his main goal. Don't die. So he puts all of his into this. Now, unfortunately, he's going to have to start working on becoming the great wizard, because if he don't, you all could die. So, you know, this is the focal point, and this is why I'm putting it this way. This is an important plot point for this campaign, because the wizard is going to assemble you and whoever else he can in these disastrous situations to try to save the world. You know, not make a difference, not for a quote cause other than, you know, the wizard does not want to die. So, you know, now as you can see, I've got, you know, the thing is, she's not been in my lap, and I thought, this one freaking time, I'll leave her in here. And she's like in the one spot I don't need her. Oh, Johnny. Good kisses. You gonna be Super Summer? Now also, once again, where I've created the main quest of the main villain, which of course you're nowhere ready to face, and once again, the face of the main villains right now, of course, is dumb old Grimgoth and more stupid Alfarius. Now you see, another thing about creating a long-term campaign, you just, like, for example, the Fantastic Four movies failed because they just throw Doctor Doom at you. You just don't throw Doctor Doom. You throw cat's paws. You throw a series of minions at the Fantastic Four before you ever bring in a Doctor Doom. You know, you've got to build up the Doctor Doom, because at this point, you know, it's soon, like the next Fantastic Four movie, it's just fucking Doctor Doom again. So, you know, this is why the campaign is rolling this way, because, once again, you defeat the initial villain, which gives you a higher villain, you know, to defeat, and then you treat it, it's like fighting the layers of an onion. And finally you get down to the core of the onion, and, you finally get to it, and then you have a resolution. That way it has an arc to it. And that is where I'm using the Fantastic Four, because that it was where they did this the worst at. It's just like, Doctor Doom, off the wall, man. What are we going to do with Fantastic Four? You know what? Doctor Doom. And there was no build-up, so who gives a shit about Doctor Doom? Well, they did, but it always still failed. Whenever you take a trilogy or a saga and you start altering it at all, it's fucked at that point. That's just the way it is. Now, more will say, this is for a new generation. No, it's not. It's because they want to sell damn toys. And they have to have an X amount different to sell the damn toys. That's why Star Trek has to always be so different. They destroyed Star Trek canon so they could sell toy lines. Is basically what happened in Star Trek. But it's the same thing. Now, it's also why in our universe here, we are going with all original characters, because that way they can never ever be a complaint, because this is going to be an entirely fresh universe with some parody characters. Well, they wreck everything. That's the nature of them. Now, fortunately, they will never be able to wreck here. And to play this game, all we need is pencil, paper, and some dice. And we have them all. And I have a summer. I'm having to reinvent my idea because now I can hardly reach. Because my kitty's cute. Now, one thing that you have heard on the news is in Champion City, there is a new law enforcement group. And of course, it's government, and it's an experimental task force called FAST. Federal Assault Special Teams. And once again, these are supposed to show up instead of cops for supervillains. Because, to be honest, it's like with Pindar, with your powers, you could just cast a shield and area effect around all of you, and at that point, there's nothing the cops can do. Because their bullets will just bounce off your field, and everybody could just walk on. So, because that's one reason why, like in the Champions game, cops take it in the teeth. Because you're basically a normal with a few extra points fighting a super person. It's like, you see what Wolverine does in the movies? Smelly Cat's character, that's exactly what it would be like for cops trying to stop Smelly Cat. Like them trying to stop Wolverine in a movie. And you can see the cops couldn't stop Wolverine. And the fact is once Rachel, once you can afford your force field on your character, at that point, cops' bullets mean nothing to you. Once again, at that point, there's nothing the cops will be able to do with you. Now, just to because I kind of want you to understand a little of the overview so you can enjoy it. So, one thing that we've been doing is introducing the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. Now, last time we played, you killed famine. You know, you didn't know what the monster of which you faced, but that was one of the four horsemen of the apocalypse. So, Rachel, you destroyed famine. Well, you're getting there. I think you have 9 on your character at the moment, if I'm remembering correctly. But yes, you know, and once again, Alfarius is war. So you see in our different games, we introduced war. Now we've introduced famine. And like I say, last week you destroyed famine. Now today, it's plague. Now, famine, if you remember, there was creatures that it was creating with people it had drained. It was creating a version of a plague zombie, but it was a blood zombie. Well, unfortunately for you, you're sitting there in the middle of your living room and you just realize something. That the movie you're watching is the news. And there's zombies at the mall. I know. It makes you think of, well, of course there's zombies at the mall. But yes, apparently there are zombies at the mall, and one of these federal assault special teams are there fighting zombies. Well, actually, the wizard took care of the blight zombies. Now, unfortunately for you, these are plague zombies. So, this is literally Night of the Living Dead at your local mall. You know, it's just where you were watching the TV and expecting to see a set you didn't recognize. It's your regular newscasters on. And the film shows zombies in your mall. Well, interesting. Okay. Well, I was sitting here looking at them. I just realized something. You see, the four horsemen are made to be a team. And that was one of the reasons why you could handle famine so easily as a team. Because, you know, they're made to be together. You know, Alfarius is made to be the guy that gets in your face. Where plague and famine are not the guys that go up and, well, smash tanks, let's put it that way. Actually, yes he can. 14 or less, and roll to 9. Well, it seems that the government agents there with their ray guns, it takes them about 3 or 4 shots to down a zombie. Now, unfortunately for you, there's another zombie there, but it's much bigger. And it's glowing. And it seems to be walking right at the agents who are sitting behind a firing line of turned over tables. And where they seem to be knocking off the little zombies, that doesn't really seem to bother the big zombie when he's hit with the energy beams. Okay, you have your illusion on. So yes, you are all at the mall now with the transport spell. And like I say, you see the big zombie approaching the agents who cannot really seem to do anything to the big zombie. Now, let me see your speeds. Both of you are quicker than the big zombie. So it's all up to what you want to do. Now, Rachel is quicker. So Rachel, you go first. Now, let me look at his disadvantages. Now, Pendart, one thing that you notice, it did say brains, but you hear it in your language. Okay, Rachel, you push him out of the way and you use your flash power. And it seems to blind the little zombies, but that big one did not even notice it. It did not stop at all, and it is Pendar's turn, and then it's the giant zombie's turn. Well, he was talking with its mouth full, Pendar. I say, Pendar, you can take it because with you having your power pole, sometimes you have to give it thought. Okay. He took 4 stun. Maybe perhaps you might have wanted to use a more potent attack, but it is his turn. And he reached out and grabbed one of the cops. And you saw the cop immediately became white. And his face went blank in expression. And now, Rachel, there is a zombie cop flying at you because he's throwing the zombie at you. Now, fortunately for you, he rolled a 14. So, you're flying up in the air, and he just threw a zombie at you. And, one of the cops he picked up, he turned him into a zombie, grabbed him, and he just threw him over you. So I'm sure that was an interesting experience, seeing a zombie fly at you and then go over you. And now, Rachel, it is your turn. Well, it's a zombie in a cop uniform, too. One of the government cop uniforms. And he says, Doom! So yes, it is now your turn. Like I say, blinding him did not work. You will find that on some things, because he's undead, he kind of senses souls. He doesn't really see. So one thing that's on his character is a whole lot of flash defense. Okay. Now, you hit him on an 11 or less, and rolled an 11 exactly. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, buddy. He has full damage resistance. Okay, Rachel, I got some bad news. You burned he had like a little outfit on. You burned his clothing off. But other than that, he seems to be fine. And Pindar, it's your attack. Little zombie outfit. I mean, they don't normally make them naked, do they? Okay. So you hit an 11 or less, and you missed with your tail. It went right past him. See, he's a pretty quick zombie. So let me see, the wizard's spells. That would be... So he could... I'm doing a power for the wizard just a moment. I'm having to do math in my head. So that would be, he has no limitations. So it would only be a straight 20 points. He could do a 4 dice 6 drain. So that's what he would be doing, and he would hit it on 11 or less. And he cast a spell on the zombie. Okay. Okay, so that would knock that down to 5. Okay. Okay, you're not sure what it did at the moment. Now, once again, it's now the zombie's attack. 9, 10, 11. Now, you just noticed something. He went to hit you, Pindar. And all of a sudden, he's moving like a slow zombie. A slower zombie, put it that way. Not quite a slow zombie, but a slower zombie. Yes, apparently he's draining off his dexterity. You know, and he would have just hit you with a zombie attack, but the wizard has taken enough of his dexterity off to where he missed you. And now it's Rachel's attack. Twice. So yes, Rachel, it's your turn. Well, the thing is, with powerful super villains, that's how super teams really do it. That's why there really are super teams. That's where I always thought that DC with Superman was kind of ridiculous, because what does Superman really need a team for? He just needs somebody to make sure kryptonite don't get him. No, Smelly's not here. Smelly's out doing kitty things. Well, the thing is he was draining using a curse. Now, see, the thing is he was the wizard used her turn to curse him, and that saved Pindar. But you get 2 attacks with your powers right now. Well, the problem for you is you're not one of these people. Now, Pindar's the strong person, and you're in a mall. So, you know, your options for impaling a mall are very slim unless you're going to, like, the hot dog on the stick kind of impale. So, you just have basically what you would have in any other mall, which was why I picked this, because your mind would have kind of a layout of it. Honey. Well, you can try. See, that's the thing, you can always try. Now, once again, trying and doing means up on different things. Honey, it calls. I think she's doing that to get both of my hands. I think that's her fucking game. Okay, wait, sit down now. Shit. 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 Okay. And you hit him. Summer, you ass fucking hole. Now, it was a good hit. You did 13 damage. Now, there is a big giant hole in the ceiling, and you can see upstairs. Yes. You didn't cave on him. You literally blasted, about a 10 by 10, in the bottom of the mall. So you can get up to the second floor easily if you want to, and you also get one more attack. Like I say, your attack hit with enough strength that you literally took out the floor completely. Nothing fell on him, but, there's, like I say, a big hole in the bottom of the mall. Kind of glad you got a secret identity now, don't you? But because of your quicker speed, you do get to go again, Rachel. We learn by doing. Yo. You see her wince? She hates cola. She always has to see what I have. But that's what she hates the worst. She demands to see it, and she smells it and she winces. Well, you get a +2 because of his drained dexterity. And you didn't say a killing attack, so I assume it's your regular attack. Your regular attack did 17 stun to him. So he's down to 21 down, okay. And now, Pendar, it is your attack. Now, he was knocked back 4 feet by Rachel's attack. No, she didn't state it was a killing attack. If you don't state it's a killing attack, your attack is your regular attack. Because Rachel has various fire blasts. One of them is a killer, one of them is not a killer. That would be a normal strength attack. And you did 11 stun to him. And you've still not stopped him. And it will be his attack. Well, no, I take it back. It's the wizard's again. Because I forgot the wizard drained his dexterity. So the wizard will do that again. And at 3 to 1, 5, so it's down to a 10. Okay. So the wizard has now cast his spell. He's going to go, he tried to attack the wizard to grab him to turn him into a zombie. And he attacks now the wizard at a -4. So he missed the wizard. And now it's Rachel's attack. Well, you do have your pool, and right now, only thing you have the power of your people in is looking like a human being. Well, you're upstairs. You see the mess that you made, and you see a big giant zombie down there coming at Pindar and the wizard. And the wizard is now backed off and looks like he's trying to start that spell again on his turn. Okay, now you get a +4 to hit. And you rolled a 14, so you hit with a 10. Now, you hit him with your killing attack again, and it did absolutely, positively nothing. And Pindar, it is now your turn. You're going to find that there is just sometimes your killing attacks will just bounce off some people. You know, that's where superpowers he comes in. Okay, so first you gotta do, well, that's a good switch roll. Too bad that wasn't the attack roll. Remember, I have to switch your powers? You definitely did. You rolled a 4. Oh, the attack you rolled a 5. And you attacked at a +4. So you hit him with a 1. Yes. You know, on a scale from 3 to 18, you hit him with a 1. Some I love you, but just a minute, Summer. I gotta pull down chat for a moment, cause demanding. So 63, 126. You did 110 stun to him. He's definitely out. Put it that way. Definitely out now. Let me see, that was a 14 die, so there was 2 more 16, 32. He took 16 body. The beer went through him. Yes. Yes, you hit him in the head, and the beer went through his head. And he's laying back, and he's got a big hole in his head right here, and it comes out the other side, and it is perfectly beer can shaped. His undead body is special in a way. You realize that because, once again, if you hit someone in the head with a can like that, you know, it wouldn't make a perfect hole, but in his it did, showing that he may look zombie-like, but he's not quite a zombie. Because, as you know, that is physically impossible. But it is. So, now, let's see, the wizard is casting a spell. Actually, the wizard has bound it up. Now, what do you guys... Well, I forgot, the federal guys are here. It's time for you to go. Yes, because you remember all those federal agents behind the barricade? The shooting has stopped. Now, they're going to be wanting to answer questions. So, the wizard has switched into his pool, and fortunately, he made the roll for the teleport. And now he does the recall spell. And he rolled a 10. And now you are back at the barn, so to say. But, shall we say, the bookstore. Now, Rachel, we've never given the bookstore a name. At this point in the campaign, you don't have to come up with it today, But on our next gaming session, I would like to know the name of your bookstore, because we have to start building our campaign lore. But he's definitely, he has like 4 body left, and he's out by so many stun. You know, the government will be able to take him off to their secret laboratory. Well, she'll come up with something that she'll want before next week, but... Now, once again, there's the part of the comic books that you don't see. Now, what you're not going to see is another team of super people showed up from the government to collect him. And they are an unusual group. And they know of the wizard. Let's put it that way. And that's all I'm going to mention about them, because, you know, your world harbors secrets. And the government knows these secrets. So yes, you know, that was for today. You have defeated your next horseman. You know, you have faced war. You have faced famine. And now you have faced plague. So you now have been introduced to 3 horsemen of the apocalypse. Now you see also as a game master, because eventually you will be fighting the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse together. You know, that's why you guys getting some experience is important. You know, before you're fighting these guys as a team. This way also, you know, as a game master, I let you guys know certain things. Like Rachel learned on this one. You know, I can do a lot more damage to famine with my light than I can plague with my light. So like I say, you know, the main quest is going to be the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse storyline. And once again, that's what I've secretly been doing. We've been slowly adding them. We've been adding little elements of your characters. And it will be very interesting because in reality, Smelly is a version of a lycanthrope. So, you know, she's got a lot of lore. Now, I'm just thinking about I have an adventure planned, and I'm a little bit of a dick. I mean, just saying it now. You know, I try not to be, but you know, in this, you know, I'm likely setting the characters up for an uncomfortable situation. Let's just put it that way. But it will be funny. And Rachel, it'll probably be you that I'm going to giggle at. Like I say, you know, it's an expected thing. You know, once again, especially with superheroes, sometimes when you do the expected thing, it's not quite the exact thing that needed done. But I thought of something funny for an introduction. And you each get 3 experience points for defeating the horseman. Now, the full thing is that actually, because Smelly had 1 up on you, so that actually evened you guys out in experience points at 12. And so once again, you know, in a 2-3 more sessions, you know, Rachel, you can buy your force field, and then most of the bullets will fly off of you. Then you can up its power a little bit and with more experience, and then you can sit and do dances and let the cops shoot at you. But, you know, that's something that I really wanted to have you at creation, but I went you guys by the rules. The original rules wanted people to start with 250 point characters and work their way up to being powerful. So, because I thought in the future you would appreciate that. Because I could have always added on a couple more disadvantages to have got you guys those little things now. But when someone asks you about the game in the future, you can say you did it by the rule book, that you weren't given anything extra, that you weren't given any leeway. That way, no one can ever criticize you as a player. Well, Pindar, you can work on it. You can buy a killing attack. And because, see, once again, you buy the attacks is generic and you define them. So yes, you can do that, but you'll just have to buy it as a killing attack. Otherwise, it just hits with your strength. Now, once again, with your strength being 60 and a normal human being's physical defense being 2, you would do 4 body out of 10. So a normal person, you could stab them with your tail. Now, it'd probably take you a few times of stabbing with your tail to kill a human being. But it would be wrong, just saying. Well, thank you, Pindar. We're just slowly entering this because there is no veteran player. And then eventually you will be the veteran players, and I'll be able to do things a lot more complex. And I was going to run another scenario, but I'm pushing my luck with summer as it is, and Saturday, I'm just going to have to make sure that none of them are in the room. And we'll hang out here and we'll talk about the game. Well, I'm going to add more characters to your group. Now, one thing, it's like certain one of you wanted, all of you want male interests at some point. And that's all going to be a point for expanding the team. And once again, these extra superheroes that, because you see, remember, Rachel, I told you that for you there would be a whole list? There is a ton of superheroes in here. And because you were girls and because of the love interest thing, I made most of them male, just because as a player, that'll give you kind of more of a field. Because typically, I would have put, more female superheroes in, but once again, to kind of give you girls a field to play with, I'm kind of making 9/10 of them male at this point. Where at some point when I write up a superhero, it'll end up 50-50 boy or girl. Okay, I think it was start from medieval there. Okay, I've got 4 of the team in that one. You see, once again, you remember Grimgoth is a dark elf. Well, you see, there's other things that go bump in the night out there other than Grimgoth. And once again, the government has to take care of these things, and they don't want the mass panic of telling the public, yes, monsters are real. So, the government does have a special anti-monster team or 2, including a few of their own superheroes. And these are secret superheroes. So you will have never heard of any of them. Now, they know of the wizard. The government knows of the wizard. Because the government tracks magical beings of power since they're dangerous. Now, they've decided that the wizard isn't a dangerous one, but he is a person to keep an eye on. Now, in our world, like the Marvel Universe has a Sorcerer Supreme. DC has Dr. Fate, which is basically a Sorcerer Supreme. So, I wish to do things a little different. So, instead of the Sorcerer Supreme type that DC and Marvel did, I made 3 witch covens. A west and east and a south one. And they are the version of the Sorcerer Supreme. So instead of there being one great, magical asshole, we have 39 witches that each have their own personality, each have their agendas, and many of them don't even like each other. And they're the ones that are the basic, quote, magical guardians of the planet. But once again, what they think needs fixed and what really needs fixed sometimes is 2 different things. And that's where the government comes in. And once again, occasionally one of these 39 witches end up the problem and need taken care of. Well, in a way, yes and no. Because you see, the government, they do have some people that are dabblers, but they don't have any great sorcerer amongst them, which is kind of their problems. Which is also one of the reasons why they can't fuck with the witches as an institution, because they would just simply turn the government into things. Now, you've seen what the wizard can do manipulating a small amount of magic. Can you imagine what masters of magic with large pools could do? The wizard basically disintegrated those blight zombies one body at a time over 20 phases. So over 2 minutes, they just went poof in an area effect. Now, once again, if the wizard had some of the powers of those witches, they could do that, because see, where the wizard did that to zombies, he could have did that to people too. He cast a spell to destroy the blight zombies. He could have melted everyone in that area with that spell. And like I said, if he had the power of some of these witches for an area effect, he could melt everyone in city blocks. But yes, that would be wrong. Hello, Robo. But I'm just kind of giving you the idea of the power of these beings. And a couple of you almost got turned into a zombie tonight, by the way, too. Because that's what that monster's touch does. Remember the fast agent that literally flew over Rachel? Now, you know what? Oh, God, we got a loose end, kids. They failed to catch that zombie. Yes, the one that flew over her. Remember, you were upstairs, it flew over you on the 2nd floor? Yes, the government missed a zombie. And as you know, when you're dealing with zombie plagues, that's bad. So, we'll see how that works out next week now, won't we? Yes, so the end page of our comic book today shows the flying zombie in the government outfit is still alive. And it's going to be biting people. Now, fortunately for you guys, the simple spell of the wizard, you guys won't be a hard time fighting zombies. But once again, it's going to be hell on the rest of the world. I'm hearing a kitty. I'm hearing a kitty in the house. It's scratching and it's kicking the underpinning to the trailer. Well, it's going to be interesting, Pindar, because this means that well, it'll be fun because picture this. Next week, you're going to be fighting a different set of supervillains in the middle of cops and zombies. You know, instead of cops and robbers, you're going to have cops and zombies. And there's going to be some supervillains that are going to try to take the distraction to get rich and powerful. So yes, I will tell you right now that Saturday, you know, we're going to have a zombie supervillain fight. Which that would be interesting. So just imagine having a city starting to go Night of the Living Dead, and you're going to be fighting supervillains in the middle of it. And of course, these are going to be your materialistic, get-rich type supervillains. So you'll get to look forward to that Saturday. You know, just to let you know, you're going to get home and, you know, you're going to think everything's great. And then later that night, yes, there's going to be the riot. And then, of course, then it's going to turn out that, shit, it's the zombies again. Oh, cool, Pindar. Well, yeah, I know how rating schedules are. And like here, you know, I'm being flexible. It's just, for some reason, my body keeps wanting to have seizures on Wednesday. It just kind of does its thing for a while. And that's the reason why we're having it today. So yes, that's what it'll be on Saturday night's game. It's going to be a zombie apocalypse. Now, the funny thing is Marvel one day is probably going to do Marvel Zombies as a movie. So you're actually going to be doing that. Now, once again, that's going to be a problem. Now, as a game master, you haven't thought about it, but people are going to get knocked out. And superheroes and supervillains are going to be laying there with zombies going around eating people. So, in reality, this is a horrible setup because, once again, a normal zombie could go out there and make a super person a zombie. So, you know, that's going to be interesting. And I'm going to pick not important supervillains. By the way, you know, because I realized this going in, you know, I have to choose my supervillains carefully. Well, in my other campaign, we had a few super zombies. One of them name was Commando. Now, Commando just started off as a regular supervillain. You know, your super agent type. And he had something really bad happen. Now, Pindar, you've seen that even supervillains have to obey game rules. You've seen that. Well, he was fighting Captain Steel's group. Captain Steel was one of my older players. He was extremely powerful. He could go one-on-one with Superman. You know, Superman wasn't in the game, but if you put him on one-on-one and Superman, you know, they could slug it out. And he might even beat Superman depending on what happens. But the funny thing is they had the mall scenario where the supervillains were ambushing the heroes. You know, the attack at the mall that time was nothing more than to lure them in. And the villains were separated themselves in the mall, and the heroes split up. Captain Steel went up the escalator. And Commando had put a giant mine that could even hurt Captain Steel. You know, Superman could have punched on Captain Steel forever, but once more, for there to actually be adventure in the game, he had like an explosive pool. So he created 2 giant booms with it. And when Captain Steel got out there, he rolled the dice, Commando did, and he rolled an 18. And as you know, your attack is, if it's possible, is turned against you. He had 2 of those bombs. So what Commando did is he picked up the wrong detonator and went, ha! And he's like, and you know, Captain Steel looks up and he hears someone go, ha! And then you see him twist, and then Commando goes, boom! He blew himself up. So yes, Captain Steel went up the escalator to face the supervillain. The supervillain with his mine rolled an 18, and the second charge he had, his backup, he had picked up the wrong detonator, and he blew himself into oblivion. And that was the end of Commando. And then eventually another supervillain resurrected him as a zombie. Because, you know, when the supervillain wants the vengeance on the hero, he raised Commando as a revenant. So that became his new career as a supervillain long after his death. Now, in real life, Commando was left dead for several months in real life. And then eventually a mystic supervillain that wanted to go after Captain Steel was looking for villains that would have the biggest grudge. So one of the things he did is he took villains that Captain Steel had killed and resurrected them because, of course, they would want to kill him the most. So, you know, that was an interesting, funny bit in my other one of our 2 zombie characters in that one. And that's in our other joke was, and Commando blew himself up. Because as a super agent type, he stood no chance toe-to-toe with Captain Steel. So the only thing he could do is took his explosive pools, and once again I took my knowledge of crafting the points, and I crafted something that would actually be a danger to Captain Steel, giving Commando a chance. And as you see, the dice turned against him, and he blew himself up. Did he, honey? Yes, Commando blew himself up. Now, this character, you know, sometimes in Champions, like real life, people just have hard luck. Now, he blew himself up. He got into a fight with another supervillain, and it was a super strong female, and she ripped his arms off. Now, at the time, so when he faced Captain Steel, he actually had bionic arms. So, you know, even though he was a super agent type, at that time he had spent his experience points after his arms were ripping off, and he got 2 cool cybernetic limbs. So, you know, he was a zombie that had 2 cool cybernetic arms, but at the point that he was a zombie, he had an activation roll on his arms. Because he was a zombie and they were technology. Well, when you do your 70 strength thing, you can rip a normal man apart. No problem. You know, you could pull him apart like a butterfly. Well, most of the time, with average damage on your killing attack, Rachel, you will kill a human being. You know, your average damage on that is going to be 10. And your average body of a human is 10, which puts them to 0. You know, which kind of gives you an idea of what kind of things that plague was shrugging off. Yes, but that would be wrong. Now, once again, now Rachel knows that plague is very vulnerable, famine is very vulnerable to her attack. But apparently, plague is not. Now, the government has plague. Now, the interesting thing is the government has plague, and they also have the alien prince of your world, Pendar. Yes, remember the bug? Now, the beetle escaped because he could tunnel. They didn't know that. But yes, the dragonfly prince, the bug guy, the government has him. Now the government has plague. So, as a game master, I have to kind of keep track of what the government has. So that means you have not met one horseman yet. So that means you've not met death. You notice that the order I had you meet them in was biblical, by the way. We do. Now, once again, there's many silly things happened in my old campaign. Now, in this game, I've not made a ton of mutants. But everyone being lazy in the other game, how do you get your powers? Fuck it, I'm a mutant. I'm like, the giant robots are going to come after you. Whatever, I'll deal with the giant robots, I'm a mutant. And there was, the super team had their base in a second floor of a hotel, and it was supposed like Troy's character was named Acrobat. He was a super strong teleporter. And there was a knock at the door, and he opened the door, and on the second floor, he's looking at the head of a giant robot sitting 30 feet in the air. Closes the door and goes over to the other superhero and goes, "It's for you." Then when it goes, big giant robot fist comes through the door and hits him. So, once again, there'll be all sorts of silliness that you will engage in, and I'm sure occasionally you'll be horrible to each other. Oh. What are you doing, Selma? So yes, I also want you to get used to the system. Because, now, for example, Pendar, the drain that the wizard did, your pool is capable of the same. Remember, you have you're defined as gaining it from the power of your people, but you have a pool too. So, one of the things that I am showing you with the wizard is stuff that you can do. And that's kind of one of the points of the wizard, is because when we decided to define, your power pool, I thought, well, you know what? It would be good if I showed ways that you could use it. So for example, what he just did there with taking away his dexterity, you can do that too. So like I say, with the wizard, I'm showing you little things that you can do to where you can help bring down a big guy. Well, yes, it's defined as a magic pool. But yours is not magic unless you say the power of your people is magic. Now, in reality, you might say it's the psychic will of your people that give you your power. But because it's the psychic will of your people, it can reproduce anything that magic does. So it's not quite magic per se. It is the power of your people. it could be a little bit of magic. Now, mostly it's going to be the psychic will of your people giving you the power. And once again, we needed you to be able to do so much various stuff. That was the best way to define it. And I think it works really, really well. Because, once again, you remember your enemy prince? At some point, when he gets some experience, I'm going to give him the power of his people. And once again, that will be a nice villain for you to face off later. You know, it will be epic. Because you will have an enemy prince from your world with the power of his people against you and the power of your people. So, you know, that kind of gives you an explanation of, you know, how some of this works. And like I said, with your pool, you can reproduce anything the wizard does. That was one of the reasons why I made him weaker than you. Was because in reality, you will be able to reproduce anything that he does with half your points. So you could do it at a higher intensity than him, or you could have half of your pool into something else, like maintaining your disguise, or a protection spell to where, you know, most small arms are going to bounce off. Excuse me. Yes, I mean, with your strength and just adding the strength spell, you know, it makes you into the brick of the group. But it gives you the variety of doing things. Now, see, I didn't add Sensei to this one, so you didn't get the martial arts bonus. He's out with Smelly practicing with her in the woods. You see, remember how I said it doesn't matter if someone's not here for a session, I will find some valid way to work through this. So, you know, she was out doing funny martial arts training. You know how they are. You know, you got to take this grain of rice and cut down this tree and, you know, all of that fun stuff. So, you know, they were out doing that, so they weren't here, so you didn't get your martial arts this adventure. That, and also, the reason I didn't put him in is because then you would have had your side would have been stronger, and you would have got a less experience point. Well, let's see. Well, no, what is the book? What did I do with it? I thought, I'm tired. Matter of fact, I didn't realize how tired I am till just now. Oh, here it is. Here it is. Because you can up your strength to 70. Where is it? I'm looking for a reference table. A 70 strength can lift 400 tons, which is a large plane. So, Pindar, your pull and your strength, you can lift up a 747. Yep. You could throw a tank. Your regular strength, no augmentation, you can lift 1.6 tons. Well, I'm going to have a snack, and I am going to get some rest. Now the thing is I'm having trouble falling asleep, but all my body's wanting to do is rest. Now, once again, because the phone people are fucking stupid, And so are the dumbasses that deliver the mail. I'm going to be outside about 10 o'clock and start watching. Because the mail usually runs about 10:45 to 11:30. So, I will be outside for that entire block, standing there waiting. So we will see. And Pindar is, as soon as it's in my hand, I will come in and message you. But that's going to be my plan, is to get to sleep earlier. I'm going to get up by 8. I may get up by 6. Because in reality, I'm thinking maybe I might be to bed here a little bit. It all depends on if I just, you know how it is, you're an insomniac and you're like, I can sleep, and then you go do it and you can't. That could happen. But I think I'll be able to sleep here in about an hour and a half. We're going to try anyway. So, see me in chat somewhere. Well, like I say, Pindar, he'll just put it in my mailbox, is what he'll do. Now, once again, because it's just a phone sitting there in an open mailbox, that's why I want to be out there. So no, there's no chance of them just saying someone else picked it up. Well, some Triscuits. Now, in the stuff that was delivered today, they had Triscuits, and I put the other boxes up, and I got a cracked pepper, went out to eat. So I will have Triscuits. And God, I am tired. It sucks is I think I'm more tired than I am sleepy. And a part of this is good because remember how I tell you that the more light it is, the more stress I have? This is kind of, in the fall, I tend to decompress. And it's a part of the process. And I will also go through a phase where I'm going to sleep a lot. And that'll last about a week. And it always happens in the fall. And it's usually about this time to where it's like, now where I'm like feeling like this, but I can't fall asleep. And that usually kind of heralds that I'm going to have a sleep phase. So that's why I wanted to explain it this way with Pindar here. So if I'm not available at odd times, you'll understand why. Because I think as I eat a lot, I'm going to be very nappy. I do. It's like, and earlier today, I badly wanted to nap and couldn't. I laid down and tried. Richella got in my way. But I'm going to get out of here so I just ain't complaining. Meow. It's a furry kitty. Oh, it's a furry kitty. Well, yeah, now I've been eating 2 meals a day for some time. I mean, this is a rarity. I've not talked about it. But, eating 2 meals a day for me has been a huge luxury. Oh, that broken toe hurts. The funny thing is I think it hurts up in the foot more than it does the toe. She's trying to rub on your bone. Well, thank you for coming, everyone. And Summer thanks you too. Oh yeah, the other thing before I go. Yes, it's sitting right next to me. Ow. She's hurting me. Well, apparently I need the first aid kit because she just took her claw and kind of kicked off. And everyone have a good night. I was going to say something else, but I'm so tired I'm not even... Good night.